How you doing, bro? Another video about books. I don't know, maybe some people are annoyed about it, but I mean, it's my documentary channel, so it doesn't really matter. It's just like me being open, just more expressing my thoughts, what I noticed. And yeah, probably like my past 5 videos were about books, but it doesn't matter. Today I wanna kind of touch on one of my thoughts that I've been thinking. You know, I started reading like maybe 2 years ago, 2.5, I'd say. And from that time, the only books that I've read up until now, self-help books. Every single book, self-help book. Okay, unless like I've read like a few philosophy books, but I mean, who hasn't read Meditations? That is the only book that I've read. Any other book, self-help books. Now recently, I bought. My camera is standing on green lights by Matthew McConaughey. You know, I've read Tupac's book, and I bought one recently right here. It's a very popular book. I heard a lot of people talk about it. It's gonna actually be my first fiction book. I never read fiction, and I bought this. Patrick Rothfuss, The Name of the Wind. Now look, if you also only read self-help books and you have something against fiction or autobiographies, I kind of like want to tell you what I think, what I experience with this. Maybe you can kind of like rethink, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, again, the only books I've read, non-fiction, self-help books. Now I started reading autobiographies, fiction. Okay, I can't say I started reading fiction because it's gonna be like my first book, but I'm gonna tell you this. I've read 2 autobiographies now, and these are the most, like my most favorite books now, um, the thing is, what I notice is when you only read self-help books and when you watch a lot of self-help videos, it kind of like gives you this mindset that your whole life is just about rules. You overthink everything, you overanalyze everything. Um, but I really like the idea that Matthew McConaughey talks about, and also one book. Um, that's right here. The Courage to Be Disliked. Both of these books say that you should dance with life. You shouldn't force life. You should dance with it. Um, of course, like the meaning of it is like you shouldn't go against life. You shouldn't like complain about things. You'll have bad moments, good moments, stuff like that. But the way I also think about it is like you shouldn't overthink everything in life. Um, some of the best decisions in some places are just what your body thinks. Your gut feeling, as people would say. It's like um, sometimes like taking over analytical approach to life just backfires at you. At least for me, because let's say if you read a lot of books about charisma, okay, let's talk about this. Of course, if you're doing business, you gotta read as many books about business. But let's say if you're the type of person who reads books, a lot of books about like self-love, charisma, what else? Okay, let's just be with this topic, okay? The thing is, if you wanna like start loving yourself more, taking like this over analytical approach of like, oh, I'm gonna visualize 10 minutes 2 times per day, every single day. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna change myself, Um, yeah, this doesn't really like create any kind of self-esteem. When you just take the way, like, I'm gonna tell you this, I've been struggling with self-esteem for quite like a long time, but if I can clearly say that right now, I love myself the most I ever did. And the thing that I did was just accept myself. I was, I don't want to say going crazy, but I'm like, yo, none of this works. Like it's just too much on my mind, you know. I've read so many things, I'm like, I can't, you know. I just stopped. I calmed down, you know. I bought a biography because I wanted to like get myself away from all these like do this, do that, do that. I'm like, I just want to take myself away from this, okay? I read Tupac's autobiography where it's just like it's his life story. And after reading it, I'm like, you know, he was different from his kids. Like he was hanging out with a lot of gangsters, if I can say, you know, but he was like an artsy kid. Is that a word? Like he was into art. He wasn't like that tough guy. He accepted himself, you know. And he still made others respect him. And when I read it, I'm like, I just gotta accept myself, you know. I am the way I am. I talk the way I talk. You know, when you read books on charisma, let's say, you really are obsessed with becoming charismatic, you know. It really makes you self-conscious, you know. You read everything about charisma. Like, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't care if what anybody says. Charisma is not about being perfect and, you know, tweaking every single small thing. Like, oh, when you walk into a room, hold eye contact with everybody for 3 seconds. Walk slow, you know. If somebody says something to you, wait 2 seconds, then respond. What are you talking about, you know? Charisma, being yourself, being confident, you know, authentic, you know, learning how to connect with people. I don't care what anybody says, you know. Um, I just, I just, I used to read charisma books. I used to watch charisma videos. Right now, I say like, just stop it, you know, because it gives you like such a robotic charisma. Nobody likes that, you know. The coolest people that you see on TV, you know, the people that you think, wow, they're so cool, they're so charismatic. You know what? They don't think about their every move. They're just the way they are, confident, you know. They're present in a moment. They think about the other person. They don't just like try to like control themselves or like fix everything, you know. They're like, oh, I'm sitting, you know, I need to switch my leg 45 degrees more. Like, they don't do that, you know. Like, what is this mindset? Like, just to summarize, you know, take a step back from all these self-help books, you know. Don't look at life, at everything as like a rules to follow, you know. In business, sure, you gotta like learn as much, boom, boom, boom. But life, um, it's more simpler than it seems, you know. You don't need to like take detailed approach to every single thing. Like, sometimes just chill, cool down, you know, calm down. Like, read some autobiographies, you know. Autobiographies can sometimes just, not even sometimes, like right now after reading, I only read 2 autobiographies, but you know, my favorite genre now. Um, every up next book, like I have a list what books I'm gonna buy. There's a lot of autobiographies, you know. So right now I'm gonna just like probably read one fiction, one autobiography, one self-help. I'm not saying the self-help is a bad genre, you know. It's certainly like not a bad genre, but when you overconsume it, it becomes bad. Like, it starts backfiring you, you know. So yeah, that is really it. If you think I'm wrong, you know, just type it in the comments. I really want to hear other people, because again, I'm not here to preach, you know. Maybe my tonality and the way I talk sometimes may sound preachy, but again, it's a documentary channel. I'm here to express my thoughts, to like, I just create videos of what I think throughout the day, you know. Sometimes I sit down, I'm like, what video can I make? Oh, I made this realization, you know. I'm gonna share it, you know. So I'm not saying you gotta accept with me. If you accept, cool. If you have any arguments or you don't accept with me, comment down below. You know, I wanna not argue, but like, just, you get my point, bro. I will not even waste your time. I see you some next time.